Man, I think my next one I'll have to put on the list would be Gorilla Breath. This one, I believe, is from Humble Seed Organization. I embarrassingly, in Las Vegas with Eric Nugshots there, was like, dude, Ben Nat and the Gorilla Breath. I love that one too. It's so dank, dude. My buddy had it. It was just some of the most fire I've ever smoked. The terps were insane. It was so pretty. Talk for 10 minutes. And you're like, yeah, that's Humble Seed Organization. That's not Humble Seed Company. I was like,
honest mistake.
Okay, good to know. But the flavor was so fire. I'm gonna hunt it soon myself. But the guy was a plug, Trey and I had, and we would be harvesting plenty, and we had plenty of smoke. But damn it, if he showed up with a half P of this, we were getting it, and we would pay full price as a normal custy. It was just so dank, dude. It was like the best of the Gorilla Glue and the best of the OG Kush Breath come together, and they flip, we'll say. And wow, dude, that the representation of the earthy, spicy with some creamy, cakey, funky, breathy exhale, it was some of the best smoke I've had to date. And I'm so upset that the guy decided to quit growing because the trap was dying, and then the cut died. Never got the cut again. So I think I'm going to hunt that one too and find my keeper, my Prism Lab style. Because, dude, it was just unbelievably good. So it was vibrant green, like no stigmas or no hairs, no pistils, so to speak, like barely any. So it was just trichomes and green, so it looked like ghosty bud, and it was so dense and rock solid. But the terps, you didn't have to crack a bud open, you didn't have to get intimate with it. You just get near it, like, whew, it smells peppery, fiery, fuely, but with a creamy, bad breath kind of mixed to just everything and then some, man. I really wish you would have kept it around.
Heaven. That sounds sweet. Yeah, it sounds very similar to my next one, and that's Dead Ops OG.
Shout out to Zaza.
My guy Zaza, yeah, man, a friend of myself and ours, friend of ours, friends of the show.
Straight up good guy. I'm excited about what the future holds with somebody like Zaza.
That's it, man. That's it. And this part of the reason that I picked Dead Ops, and part of the reason I love Champion Zaza is because, as we said, he's been on our show a number of times. He's an honest dude.
Down to earth.
He really knows his stuff. He was on my show, Tea with P, as well, and we didn't talk anything about gardening whatsoever, and we just shoot the breeze. It was great because he's such a laid-back guy. He's so awesome. He's so cool. He's a family dude. He's about friends and community, and he's all about the plant. And he is what, in my opinion, this community stands for. He's a great dude, and his genetics, well, they speak for themselves. I took on Dead Ops OG. It would have been 2 years ago, I believe, at this point. And it's, again, common denominator, great grower, easy to train, wasn't too overwhelming in the floral department or in the foliage department. Took my abuse. A lot of what you said in regards to the taste. We have similar palates. Now,
the board,
Chris and
all three of us.
Chris and I are a little wider.
You guys definitely are more mature palates, we'll say.
Can take wider, just wider. It's just I have a white trash Kid Rock more palate. That's right. Yes, yeah, and I got a little more like Ricky Lake,
a little more elegant too.
Yeah,
I mean, coming from where you are around here, I can see how cultured.
Very cultured.
You're definitely the most cultured in the town. I could see, probably just being like,
probably.
Excuse me,
who's that guy?
You never had bocce in a backyard?
Yeah, bocce in a backyard. I really like the Dead Ops. It smoked so well. Great for the crowd. You know, I know that the footy kind of funkiness can off-put people, but it was comfortable enough. I don't think that's the word I'm looking for. It was tame enough where it at least got my attention, where I was like, yes, please. And it was enough that I could also help a crowd, please a crowd with, take it over to buddies' places, and they'd enjoy it and not be turned off. Their old ladies could enjoy it and not be turned off by the footy kind of smell to it. So huge shout out to my guy Zaza, a good friend of ours, and quality genetics. And you wouldn't be disappointed if you took on some Dead Ops OG. That'll be on my list for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I actually grew out the Dead Ops OG. I grew out 3 of the plants, and I grew out the F2 generation as well as the F4 generation.
Oh boy, so, nice.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see. Okay, F2 generation. That's the first one I grew out, and the leaf to bud ratio is very leafy, but real dense buds, and I thought that was kind of interesting to see that in the genetics. And the other pheno I grew one actually in synthetics and then one in organics, and compared the differences a little bit. I don't really remember, to be honest with you, like a flavor difference, a smell difference, but I do remember the morphology difference, like the bud structure, denseness, chunkiness on the other pheno I got. But I do remember the funkiness as far as the smell. Also on the F2 generation was the fuel on the back end. You know what I mean? On the exhale, it was
I had the fuel,
light fuel, and then the F4. It was interesting to see which way he was taking it, right? So obviously, as you continue your inbreeding line, you go down generation to generation. You get to F3, F4. It's more of what the breeder is looking for, right? So seeing some of the phenos that came out of the F2, and then seeing what he's narrowing it down to, one thing I noticed is that he narrowed it down to be even more fuely, and that fuel hit me hard. So the funkiness, but the fuel, it just really, really jumped out, gassiness. And, I can't speak for him. I don't know exactly if that's what he was looking to do, but like that's what came out on what I grew.
I need it.
And that was really attractive to me because I really, really like it. And I still have some, actually, I try to conserve it. It's one of those cultivars I try to conserve because I enjoy it so much. And it hits me hard every time.
You do need it. You do need it. I think you'd really enjoy it. Speaks to me, and I kind of hits the boxes of everything that you talk
about.
He had a
sale, and he was out of them at the time, so I didn't get them. But I'm gonna have to look again. Shout out Zaza. Shout out to the whole crew out there. Man, my next one would have to be, and this would be my final one, would have to be East Coast Sour Diesel. I'm going back a little further. Ooh. Dude, Sour Diesel by itself is fire, but that East Coast Sour Diesel has a little more of a funk. A little more of the skunk comes out. A little more of the Kimmy comes out. And it just, it hits the G-spot. It's always had the flavor that represents sour diesel for me the most compared to a traditional sour diesel. I believe it was originally AJ's Sour Diesel is where they got that from. And it's just like the flavor is unmatchable. If I'm remembering correctly, it's a Chem Dog crossed with Super Skunk. Super Skunk. I think. Let me know in the chat if I'm wrong. I apologize if I am. All respect. But this is the gas that I'm after always. This is that particular gas. The OG Kush, like OG 18 in particular, may be different, but the OG Kush gas can lean a little citrus sometimes. I've had in the past, like a little pine citrus, as where in regular sour diesel too, I've had it where you get a little of a limonene. But the East Coast Sour Diesel has always been straight up gas, pushing armpit, just funk. Always. I've never had one that's mild and light. Currently, I did a breeding project with people under the Stairs Genetics. He took Tom Hill Hayes and crossed that with East Coast Sour Diesel, and then crossed that with Tom Hill Hayes and East Coast Sour Diesel, and then I crossed that with Sherbet Cream Pie, and I'm calling it Sherbert the Pervert. Not gonna release it because it's just not stable, but it smokes good. It's hard to say every time. Like, what are you smoking on? I'm like, Sherbet Cream Pie crossed with East Coast Sour Diesel, crossed with Tom Hill Hayes. Like, every strain's got 3 names in it, 4 too many. So I'm just calling it Sherbert the Pervert, and it smokes very nice. It's definitely leans a little bit more to the Sherbet Cream Pie in the terms of flavor, but it's got a little bit of the gas on the exhale, but it's covered in trichomes. Like, just brought a new level of trichome production, but it's a little lanky. The further leaf to bud ratio also has I think an impact, in my opinion, on some of the internodal stretching. It's just a stretchier one, but tasty as all hell, man. But for me, East Coast Sour Diesel for life.
This FTS clip was brought to you by AC Infinity, leaders in garden innovation. Use discount code TheStash15 at checkout to save some money on your order.
From the Stash Podcast.